Well, hello, my YouTube fellas and gals, friends and family. So, my name's Tami. I own a used bookstore. If you're new to my channel, everything will be in the description below. If you would like to order used books, you get to see the condition they're in. I also ship media mail, which is the cheapest mail. And even if you don't buy books from me, that's okay too. You can use me for Resource Center for Kindles and Nooks because I read the synopsises, so you can go out and find some good books and have happy readings because I love books. It's one of my passions. So, on further ado, I read the synopsis of 10 books per video, and this is book number 1. These are all paperbacks. They're all going to be $2 each. And this is Red Mist by Patricia Cornwell. This is a 2011 copyright. And this is what the book's about. On her quest to find out exactly what happened to her recently murdered former deputy chief, Jack Fielding Scarpetta drives to the Georgia prison for women to meet a convicted sex offender and the mother of a vicious and diabolical brilliant killer. Against the advice of her FBI forensic psychologist husband, Brenton Wesley, Scarpetta is determined to hear this woman out. Scarpetta has both personal and professional reasons to learn more about a string of grisly killings, the murder of a Savannah family years earlier, a young woman on death row, and then other inexplicable deaths that begin to occur at a breathtaking pace. Driven by inner forces, Scarpetta discovers connections that compel her to conclude that what she thought ended with Fielding's death and an attempt on her own life is only the beginning of something far more destructive. A terrifying terrain of conspiracy and potential terrorism on an international scale, and she is the only one who can stop it. So there you go. This is book number 1 in lot 68. Book number 2, we have Smoke Screen by Sandra Brown. It is a 2008 copyright, and this is what the book's about. When newswoman Britt Shelley wakes up to find herself in bed beside Charleston PD Detective Jay Burgess, she remembers nothing of how she got there or how he wound up dead. Burgess was one of the 4 heroic city officials who risked their lives 5 years earlier to lead others to safety from a catastrophic fire. His lifelong friend, Rayleigh Gainen, was later assigned to investigate, but Rayleigh never finished the inquiry because one calamitous night, his career was destroyed by scandal, and now the newswoman, whose biased reporting helped bring about Rayleigh's downfall, might be his only chance to vindicate himself and get justice for the fire victims. But the more Rayleigh and Britt discover about that fatal day, the more perilous their situation becomes, until they're not only chasing the truth, but running for their lives. So there is book number 2. Pull this out a little bit. I am not perfect when it comes to the camera. Okay. Book number 3, we have Victims by Jonathan Kellerman. This is a 2012 copyright. This is what the book is about. Acid-tongued Vita Berlin hadn't a friend in the world, but whom did she cross so badly as to end up meticulously arranged in such a gruesome murder scene? One look prompts LAPD detective Milo Sturgis to summon his expert in homicidal maniacs, Alex Delaware. But even Alex is stymied when more slings occur in the same ghastly fashion and no apparent connection among the victims. And the only clue left behind is a blank page bearing a question mark, seems to be both a menacing taunt and a chilling cry for help from a tortured, savage soul. To end the bloody spree and prevent citywide panic, Alex navigates the secretive world. I'm having bloopers today. Of mental health treatment, from the sleek office of Beverly Hills therapist to a shuttered mental institution where he once learned his craft. As a jagged piece of the puzzle fits into place, a portrait emerges of a sinister mind at its most unimaginable and an evil soul at its most unspeakable. So there you go. Book number 3. I do not rehearse this, so you're hearing the books as I say them, and I'm reading them as I say them for the first time. Guilty by David Baldacci. I think that's how you say his name. Not sure. 2015 copyright. And this is what his book is about. Will Robbie escaped? Let's see. Will Robbie is the government's most professional, disciplined, and lethal assassin. He infiltrates the most hostile countries in the world, defeats our enemies, advanced security measures, and eliminates threats before they ever reach our shores. But now his skills have left him. Sent overseas on a critical assignment, he fails, unable to pull the trigger. Absent his talents, Robbie is a man without a mission, without a purpose. To recover what he has lost, Robbie must confront what he has tried to forget for over 20 years, his own past. The Guilty. Will Robbie escaped his small Gulf Coast hometown of Cantrell, Mississippi after high school, severing all personal ties and never looked back, not once. Not until the unimaginable occurs, his father, Dan Robbie, has been arrested and charged with murder. Father and son haven't spoken or seen each other since the day Robbie left town. In that time, Dan Robbie, a local attorney and pillar of the community, has been elected to town judge. Despite this, most of the Cantrell is aligned against Dan. His guilt is assumed. To make matters worse, Dan has refused to do anything to defend himself. When Robbie tries to help, his father responds only with anger and defiance. Could Dan really be guilty? With equally formidable Jessica Rill at his side, Robbie ignores his father's wishes and begins his own desperate investigation into the case. But Robbie is now a stranger to his hometown, an outsider, a man who has forsaken his past and his family. And his attempts to save his father are met with distrust and skepticism and violence. Unlike the missions Robbie undertook in the service of his country, where his target was clearly defined, digging into his father's case only reveals more questions. Robbie is drawn into the hidden underside of the Cantrell, where he must face the unexpected and possibly deadly consequences of the long ago choices made by father and son, and this time there may be no escape for either of them. So there you go. Sounds like a good book. Number 4. This is book at number 5, The King's Deception by Steve Barry. This is a 2013 copyright, nice thick read. This is what it's about. Cotton Malone and his 15-year-old son are headed to Europe. As a favor to his former boss at the Justice Department, Malone agrees to escort a teenage fugitive back to England. But when they're ambushed by gunmen and both boys vanish, Malone finds he stumbled into a power keg of political intrigue, and it's about to explode. In a controversial move, Great Britain intends to free an infamous terrorist from prison, but an outraged American government is determined to intervene by exposing a centuries-old secret involving the Tudors that will rock the United Kingdom to its royal foundation and reignite one of history's bloodiest conflicts. As assassins, traitors, spies, a ruthless CIA agent fight a deadly duel for power, Malone must play one treacherous player against another, all to save 2 nations and his son from the shattering consequences of the king's deception. Ooh, that sounds good. Book 5. Book number 6, we have The Racketeer by John Grisham. This is a 2013 copyright, and this is what it's about. In the history of the United States, only 4 active federal judges have been murdered. Judge Raymond Forsyth has just become number 5. His body is found in his remote lakeside cabin. There is no sign of forced entry or struggle, just 2 dead bodies. Judge Forsyth and his young secretary in one large state-of-the-art, extremely secure safe, open and emptied. One man, a former attorney, knows who killed Judge Fawcett and why, but that man, Malcolm Bannister, is currently residing in the federal prison camp near Frostburg, Maryland. Those serving time, Malcolm has an ace up his sleeve. He has information that the FBI would love to know. Malcolm would love to tell them, but everything has a price. And the man known as the Racketeer wasn't born yesterday. So there you go, book 6. Book number 7, we have Deeper Than the Dead by Tami Hoag. This is a 2010 copyright, and this is what it's about. California, 1985. 4 children and a young teacher in Navarre make a gruesome discovery: a partially buried female body, her eyes and mouth glued shut. A serial killer is at large, and the very bonds that hold their idyllic town together are about to be tested to the breaking point. Tasked with finding the killer, FBI investigator Vince Leone employs a new and controversial FBI technique called profiling, which plunges him into the lives of the 4 children and the young teacher, whose need to uncover the truth is as intense as his own. But as new victims are found and pressure from the media grows, Vince and Anne find themselves circling the same small group of local suspects, unsure whether those who suffer most are victims themselves or those close to this killer, blissfully unaware that someone very near to them is a murdering psychopath. So there you go, book 6. No, that was book 7. This is book 8. Book 8's another Tami Hoag. It's called Cold, Cold Heart. This is a 2015 copyright, and this is what it's about, the synopsis. Dana Nolan was a promising young TV reporter until a notorious serial killer tried to add to her to his list of victims. Nearly a year has passed since she survived her ordeal, but the physical, emotional, and psychological scars run deep. Struggling with the torment of post-traumatic stress syndrome, plagued by flashbacks and nightmares, Dana returns to her hometown in an attempt to begin to put her life back together. But home doesn't provide the comfort she expects. Dana's harrowing story and her return to small-town life have rekindled police and media interest in an unsolved case of her childhood best friend, Casey Grant, who disappeared without a trace the summer after their high school graduation. Terrified of truths long buried, Dana reluctantly begins to look back at her past, viewed with a dark filter of PTSD. Old friends and loved ones become suspects and enemies. Questioning everything she knows, refusing to be defined by the traumas of her past, Dana seeks out a truth that may prove too terrible to be believed. So there you go. Book 7. Book 8. Ugh, I'll get it right. Book 9 is Now You See Her. I actually read this book. This is a good one. This is James Patterson and Michael Lidwidge. A Good Wife and Mother Vanishes. This is that's not 1960. The copyright's wrong. This is a 2011 copyright. I don't know why that says 1960. Oh my goodness. I messed it up today. 2011. And this is what the book is about. A successful lawyer and loving mother, Nina Bloom would do anything to protect the life she's built in New York, including lying to everyone, even her daughter, about her past. But when an innocent man is framed for murder, she knows she can't let him pay for the real killer's crimes. Nina's secret life began 19 years ago in beautiful Key West. She had looks to die for, a handsome police officer husband, and a baby on the way. Yet Nina's happy world was shattered when she unearthed a terrible secret that forced her to run for her life and change her identity. Now, years later, Nina must risk everything to return to Florida and confront a murderous evil that will not let her go. And that is book 9. Book 10, and the last one in this lot, is called The Kill List by Frederick Forsyth. This is a 2014 copyright, And this is what it's about. In Northern Virginia, a secret agent named TOSA, Technical Operations Support Activity, has one mission: to track, find, and kill those so dangerous to the United States that they are on a short, very close-held document known as the kill list. Now, a new name has been added, a terrorist of frightening effectiveness called the Preacher, who radicalizes young Muslims living abroad to carry out assassinations. Unfortunately for him, one of his targets is a retired Marine general whose son is TOSA's top tracker of men. The Preacher has made it personal, and now the hunt is on. So there you go. There's the 10. Everything is in the description below. If you want to get a hold of me, I'm on Menda's Bookstore and more on Facebook, or Tami's Makeup Treats at gmail.com. So with that, whatever time zone you're in, I hope you're having a great one, and I will see you soon. Bye.